So my 18-year-old niece announces she's engaged, and I just go, what the F? Everyone turns and stares. And then I see the guy. He's 36, literally double her age. They've been dating for a year, by the way. So yeah, he was 35 chasing a 17-year-old. And the whole family thinks I'm the crazy one for saying something. Like, am I taking crazy pills? This is not okay. This is a disaster waiting to happen, and here's why. Okay, so here's the backstory. The guy telling this story, he's 33. His niece Ella is 18. But because he became an uncle at 14, they actually grew up kind of close. Like more like cousins than uncle-niece. Then his brother's family moved away, so he didn't see her as much, but they still kept in touch. Fast forward to his mom's birthday party. He's actually excited because he's finally going to meet Ella's boyfriend, Mark. She'd been talking about him for a while. And then she walks in. And wait, this guy looks old. Like not older boyfriend old. Like, is that your dad? Old. Spoiler alert, Mark is 36, double her age. The narrator is polite at first. He smiles, shakes his hand. But inside, he's freaking out. So he pulls his brother aside and asks, how old is this guy? And his brother just casually says, oh, he's 36. Like it's nothing. But here's the thing, they've been dating for a year. So she was 17 when it started. A 35-year-old man and a 17-year-old. And everyone's just okay with this. Then they all go into the living room. Ella's beaming. She holds up her hand and says, we're engaged. And the narrator just blurts out, without thinking, what the F? Everyone turns and stares at him like he just murdered someone. And he's standing there thinking, am I the only one seeing this? So he says it. He tells them straight up, are you out of your minds? There is no world where a 36-year-old should be with an 18-year-old. This is wrong. This is creepy. And she should not be getting married. You'd think at least someone would pause and go, maybe he has a point. Nope. Instead, they all turn on him. They say he's ruining Ella's happiness. Some even say he's jealous of Mark. I mean jealous. Of a guy in his mid-30s who had to date a high schooler because women his own age saw right through him. Come on. And then the family plays the it's legal card. They're both adults, they say. Except that's not even true. She turned 18 only 7 months ago, and they've been together for a year. So for 5 months of that relationship, she was a minor. Legally, he's got nothing to stand on. But even if it were fully legal, since when is not illegal the same as not creepy? The narrator is just standing there, looking at his family, feeling like he's in some kind of nightmare. His own brother, Ella's dad, is defending this. The whole room is against him. And he's thinking, how can they not see what this is? He tells them they're sick for allowing this. He calls Mark exactly what he is, a predator. But they won't listen. They're too busy protecting the happy fantasy. And the saddest part, Ella's sitting right there. She's 18. She thinks this is love. She has no idea that in a few years she's going to look back and feel sick. The narrator knows he's not wrong, but he also knows that by yelling and slamming the door on his way out, he might have just pushed her closer to Mark. Because that's what happens, right? You tell a teenager not to do something, and suddenly they want to do it even more. So now he's getting bombarded with angry messages from his own family. And he's sitting there wondering, was he the a-hole? Should he have just kept his mouth shut? Or did he do the right thing by saying what everyone else was too afraid to say? Honestly, he's not the a-hole, not even close. But the way he handled it, that's a different question. Here's the thing. The narrator keeps going back to one simple fact that his family just refuses to see. A healthy 36-year-old does not date a teenager. Period. Full stop. And it's not about judgment. It's about patterns. Because let's be real, what does a 35-year-old man have in common with a 17-year-old? What do they talk about? Homework, curfew, the stress of getting a driver's permit. That's just messed up. He tries to explain this to his family. He keeps saying, look, I'm 33. I'm younger than Mark. And I would never, ever date someone under 25. That's not even a question. But they won't hear it. Instead, they throw out the most disgusting accusation possible. They say he's jealous. Jealous of Mark. I mean, come on. Jealous of a guy who had to go after a child because women his own age could smell the red flags from a mile away. And here's what really scares him. They've been dating for a year, a full year. So when it started, she was 17. That's not a grey area. That's a grown man pursuing a minor. And now they're engaged. He looks at Ella and sees exactly where this is headed. Marriage, then isolation, then maybe a baby to really lock her in. And by the time she wakes up and realizes how messed up this all is, she'll feel trapped. No degree, no career, no money of her own. Just a guy who picked her because she was young enough not to say no. And the community comments. They saw it too. One person wrote, and I'm quoting here, "A 35-year-old going after a 17-year-old is ick." They're just too far apart in life experience to have a relationship based on mutual respect. These relationships are usually based on mutual exploitation. He gets a pretty young thing. She gets material benefits. That's not love. Another commenter didn't mince words at all, just straight up said, "He's a predator, you're right. The most important thing you can do is get her on birth control because he's going to destroy her life." And that's the scary part, right? Because nobody starts dating a predator thinking it'll end badly. It always starts with, "He's so mature and he treats me like an adult." But then slowly, the control creeps in. He doesn't like your friends. Your family doesn't understand you. You don't need to go to college. He'll take care of you. And before she knows it, she's isolated. The narrator knows this. That's why he's panicking. That's why he lost it at the party. Because he's watching someone he loves walk straight into a trap, and everyone else is cheering her on. One commenter gave really smart advice, honestly. They said, "Call your niece and apologize for your outburst. Explain that you've never known a good man of that age to go after someone so young. Tell her you trust her to put herself first, and you're always there for her. This is important. It's pretty much guaranteed she will be a victim of this man's abuse. So make it clear you're on her side. That's your insurance against isolation." That last part hits hard, doesn't it? Insurance against isolation. Because if she feels like everyone is against her and Mark is the only one who gets it, she'll never leave. But if she knows there's one person, just one, who will catch her when she falls, that changes everything. The narrator isn't wrong about Mark being a predator. He's not wrong to be scared. The only thing he might have gotten wrong was how he said it. Because now his family thinks he's the enemy, and Ella might be pulling away instead of leaning in. But here's what keeps him up at night. If he says nothing and she ends up trapped in an abusive marriage, could he live with that? If he stays quiet to keep the peace and 5 years from now she's calling him in tears, would that be better? No, it wouldn't. So yeah, he shouted. He slammed a door, he made a scene. But sometimes that's what it takes when everyone else has decided to look the other way. Okay, so here's what he did next. After getting absolutely flooded with comments and advice, the narrator takes a full 24 hours to just think. And honestly, that's more than his family did. He reflects on everything, and here's where he lands. He's not wrong for thinking the relationship is creepy. He's not wrong for being scared for Ella. But the way he said it, in the heat of the moment, in front of everyone, yelling and slamming the door, yeah, that part wasn't great. He admits that, but he doesn't back down on the core issue. He still thinks Mark is a predator. He still thinks an 18-year-old should not be marrying a 36-year-old. That part doesn't change. So he makes a plan, 3 things. First, he texts Ella. He apologizes for his outburst. He tells her he should have thought it through before blowing up. But he also makes sure she knows. He never wanted to make her feel like he doesn't want her to be happy. He loves her. He has her best interest at heart. That's huge, right? Because the moment someone feels attacked, they stop listening. But if they know you're coming from a place of love, the door stays open even a little. Second, he asks if she'd be willing to meet up. Just the 2 of them. Get coffee. Talk things through with a clear head. No yelling, no family pressure. Just an uncle who cares about his niece, wanting to have an honest conversation. He doesn't say, "I'm going to convince her to break up with him." He says he wants to help her see why it's weird, why marrying him might not be a great choice. That's a softer approach. Smarter, honestly. Third, he texts his brother. He apologizes for how he said it, but he doesn't apologize for saying it. Big difference. He explains, calmly this time, why he thinks Mark is a predator, why this relationship could really damage Ella long term. not to win an argument, because he's genuinely scared for her. And then he waits. No replies yet, just silence, which is probably nerve-wracking, right? You put yourself out there, you try to fix things, and you just wait. But here's the hopeful part. He's not giving up. He's not storming off and cutting contact. He's trying to keep the lines of communication open, because he knows that if Ella ever needs an escape route, she needs to know he's there. He also takes a moment in his update to thank the commenters who gave real advice. And he sends love to people who shared their own stories of being groomed as teenagers. He says he's sorry that happened to them, and he hopes they're doing better now. That part, that's genuine. You can feel it. So yeah, he's still worried. Still scared that Mark might isolate Ella before she can see the truth. But he's also hopeful, because she agreed to meet him for coffee. She didn't shut him out completely. And sometimes that's all you need. A tiny crack of light in a really dark situation. So they meet for coffee, just the two of them. No family, no Mark, no pressure. And honestly, this conversation is where everything starts to shift. She asks him straight up, "What do you want to tell me?" And he's nervous. He knows he has to be careful. If he pushes too hard, she'll walk away. If he's too soft, she won't hear him. So he starts by saying, "I don't think your relationship is healthy." And he explains, no healthy older guy should want to date a teenager. He's quick to add, "This isn't about you. You're incredible. You're smart and funny, and anyone would be lucky to marry you. But guys my age, we shouldn't even be looking at teenagers. That's not normal." She pushes back a little, says sometimes it's okay. Sometimes age gap relationships work. And then he asks her a question that stops her cold. "How would you feel if I told you that someone born today could be your future partner?" She pauses, thinks about it, and says, "That feels really weird." Then he asks, "Would you date someone younger than 15? She says no immediately. And in that moment he can see it, the gears turning in her head, the realization creeping in that maybe, just maybe, Mark isn't the exception she thought he was. So he keeps going. He asks about Mark's previous relationship. She says she knows the girl's name, but not much else. He asks how old the girl was, 21. Another much younger woman, then the big one. Did you know their relationships overlapped? She hesitates. Says Mark always told her he was single when they met, but she kind of felt like that wasn't true. And that's when the dam starts to break. She tells him more, way more. She admits Mark has been flirting with other girls, younger girls, including some of her own friends. When she confronted him, he gaslit her, made her think she was being crazy, that it wasn't flirting, that she was just insecure. He's also been talking about kids, a lot, telling her how cute it would be to see her raise his babies, pressuring her about starting a family, and she's not ready for that. She wants to go to college. She wants a career. She doesn't want to be a stay-at-home mom trapped in someone else's plan for her life. She looks at her uncle and says, "I've been doubting everything." But here's the heartbreaking part. She's scared to leave. Mark has become her whole life, her whole world. She doesn't know who she is without him. And that fear, that's what predators count on. They make you so dependent that leaving feels like dying. He doesn't push. He doesn't say, "I told you so." He just looks at her and says, "You are surrounded by people who love you, your family, your friends, me. You are so much more than just Mark's girlfriend. And I know my opinion on this, but here's the truth. The choice is yours. I just want you to be happy. And no matter what you decide, I will be here for you. Always." She's quiet for a long time. Then she looks up and says, "I'll try to break up with him this week." He doesn't cheer, doesn't celebrate. He just nods and tells her he's proud of her, and that he'll be there no matter how it goes. Walking out of that coffee shop, he's still scared. Still worried Mark might manipulate her into staying. But for the first time since that awful family party, he sees a way out, a real one. And all he did was show up, listen, and remind her that she's not alone. So weeks go by, and at first not much changes. Ella sees more red flags, honestly, more than before. Mark is getting more controlling, more irritable, but she still can't bring herself to leave. Breaking up with someone who's become your entire world, that's terrifying. The narrator doesn't push. He just checks in once or twice a week. A quick text, a short call, nothing heavy. Just, "Hey, how are you doing? And I'm here if you need me." And then, finally, the call comes. She's shaken up, crying a little, but she says the words he's been hoping to hear for months. I broke up with him. He doesn't grill her for details. He just asks if she's safe, if she wants to come over. She says Mark left to stay with his family after she told him, so she's okay staying home. But here's what she does share. The final straw, the holidays. Mark insisted they shouldn't spend Christmas with her family. He wanted a full week with his family out of state because, and I quote, they see them less often. Translation. He was trying to isolate her from everyone who might help her see the truth. And then he made a comment about how next year, as a present, they could give his mother a grandchild. That's what did it. That's what finally woke her up. The pressure to have a baby, the isolation tactics, the flirting with her friends, it all crashed together, and she just couldn't pretend anymore. She's coming to the family dinner alone. No Mark, no drama, just her. The narrator is relieved. More than relieved, honestly. He knows she dodged a bullet, a massive one, because if she had married that guy, if she'd gotten pregnant, leaving would have been 100 times harder, maybe impossible. He doesn't know exactly what she said to Mark or how he reacted, and he's not going to ask, not until she's ready to talk about it. Maybe she'll tell him more later, maybe she won't. Either way, he's just glad she's out. And here's the thing that sticks with you after reading this whole story. Ella didn't leave because someone yelled at her or called her names. She didn't leave because her family shamed her. She left because one person, just one, kept showing up, kept listening, kept reminding her that she deserved better. Sometimes that's all someone needs. Not a lecture, not an intervention. Just one person who believes them enough to stay in their corner, even when it's messy and uncomfortable and everyone else is looking the other way. That's the difference between pushing someone away and actually saving them. All right, let's end on something lighter. One employee needed a hotel. Company took forever to approve it. Price went from $550 to $1,200. CFO freaked out. Employee just forwarded all the emails. Long story short, they shut down the whole approval system. Classic. If you want more crazy stories like these, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you won't regret it.